Hello, my dear students. Welcome back to the channel once again. So today we are going to go through the specimen paper of ICSC 2023. Okay, so ICSC 2023 date sheet is also declared and released, and you might be preparing for your board exams. So many of you might be going to the specimen paper, but you need an answer of this. So I've already prepared answers for the specimen question paper for 2023 examination of ICSC History and Civics. The maximum marks is 80 marks. So let us go through this question paper properly. Okay, so maximum time allotted to you will be 2 hours, and within 2 hours you have to attempt all the question answers. So properly you have to go through the question paper. Okay, so I suggest you all to go through the specimen paper one so that you'll get the idea about what type of questions will be asked and how and what pattern will be followed for this 2023 board exams. Okay, so part one, the all the questions are compulsory. There is no choice. So 16 MCQs will be given to you. So let's start with the number one. Question number one. The interval between two sessions of the parliament should not be more than, options are 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months. The answer is 6 months. Okay. Now next one you can see here, maximum composition of Lok Sabha is, the answer is 550. Okay. So earlier it had the maximum strength was 552, but though two Anglo-Indian member is now removed. Okay. So now we have the strength of 550. The maximum composition of Lok Sabha is, the answer is 550. Okay. Now number three, the term of Lok Sabha is 5 years. So what is the term of Rajya Sabha member? So Lok Sabha member term 5 years, Rajya Sabha member term dash. So answer is 6 years. Okay. Rajya Sabha has no term. Okay. Rajya Sabha is a permanent house, but every second year, 1/3 of its member retires and new member takes the seat. Okay. So member only has a term of 6 years. So now number four, the Council of Ministers is collectively responsible to the dash. The answer is Lok Sabha. Okay. Collectively, all the Council of Ministers are responsible to the Lok Sabha. Okay. Now, next one, number five. The House has 350 members on a given day. 25 members are present. For which of the following reason does the Speaker adjourn the session for the day? So definitely you know that 1/10 is required. That is the quorum. So here there is a lack of quorum. Okay, only 25 members are present, so there is no quorum. So the answer is, due to lack of quorum, the house is adjourned. The speaker adjourns the house. Now, next number six. When a case comes from subordinate court to the high court, the high court deals with it under which jurisdiction? The answer is appellate jurisdiction. Okay. Now, number seven, which of these was not an aim of Indian National Congress? Serial. All four. You might be confused that you may think that this is the aim, but the question asked over here is not an aim. So answer is to make the world aware of the true nature of the British. Okay. Now number eight, Dash announced that the successors of Bahadur Shah could not use imperial titles. Imperial titles. The answer is Lord Canning. Okay, Lord Dalhousie also was there, Lord Canning also was there, but the announcement regarding the successors could not use the imperial title is Lord Canning. Okay, now let us move on to number nine. Which of these is not a repressive policy of Lord Lytton? Answer is Grand Delhi Darbar. Which of these is not a repressive policy of Lord Lytton? Grand Delhi Darbar. So the next one is Jyotiba Phule Satya Sadhok Samaj and Raja Ram Mohan Roy Brahma Samaj. Okay, that means Satya Sadhok Samaj was founded by Jyotiba Phule, and Brahma Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Okay, now next one. The Khilafat movement was started in India by Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. Okay, they both are known as Ali brothers. Now, number 12. The non-cooperation movement was suspended due to the dash. The answer is Chauri Chaura incident. Okay. Then number 13. Which of the following clauses was not part of Indian Independence Act of 1947? The answer is C. The British Parliament had legislative control over India. This is the correct answer for number 2. Now number 14. Which of the following is a common ideology of fascism and Nazism? So the answer is C. To uphold one party and one leader. Okay, to uphold one party and one leader. Next, number 15. Hitler attacked Poland because he wanted to regain the Danzig port. Okay, C is the correct answer. Regain the Danzig port. Then number 16. Identify the founders of non-aligned movement. So the first one is correct. Okay, Nasir, Tito, Nehru. Nasir, Tito, Nehru. Okay. Okay, now let us move on to question number 2, which will be of for 2 marks. Okay, so we have already done 16 marks. So now 14 marks. 7 questions will be asked over here. So each question will be of 2 marks. So remember, for 2 marks, 2 points you have to mention. Don't write more than 2 points. Okay. Now the first one. Mr. Kausal is 26 years of age. Which House of Parliament can be a member? Can he be a member? And why? Answer I have written it over here is Mr. Kausal can be a member of Lok Sabha. Okay. The minimum age to become the member of Lok Sabha is 25 years, whereas for Rajya Sabha it is 30 years. So Mr. Kausal can be the member of a Lok Sabha. Okay. Now number 2. Miss Anita wants to approach the Lok Sabha Lok Adalat regarding a case. Mention any 2 advantages she will have by taking her case to the Lok Adalat. So simple, the question is asked over here, the advantages of Lok Adalat. Okay, the 2 advantages of Lok Adalat, you can see. Number 1, it will save a lot of money, time of the aggrieved person. Okay, that means Anita will save time as well as money. Then B, number 2, the resolution of dispute will be made in an amicable manner after hearing the thoughts of both the parties. So a compromising situation will be formed over there, so in which you will have a proper decision from the Lok Adalat. Number 3, again 2 marks. Mention any 2 ways in which British ill-treated the Indian soldiers. So how was the Indian sepoys ill-treated by the British? So 3 points I have given over here. So you can write any 2. Just remember 2 points. For 2 marks, 2 points. Okay. So I've given 3. The sepoys were sent to distant parts of empire but were not paid any extra allowances. That means extra bhatta was not given. Indian sepoys were refused the promotion. That means there was very low prospect of promotion. They could hardly reach up to the post of subedar. Okay. Then the third point I mentioned over here is they were not allowed to wear caste or sectarian marks, beards, or turbans. Okay. Religious and sectarian marks were not allowed. Simply mention their prospect of promotion was very, very less. They could hardly reach up to the post of subedar. Okay. And they were not given proper salaries as compared to the European counterparts. And all the important posts, okay, in the army was reserved for the Europeans. So many points are there. You have to mention only 2. State any 2 objectives of Muslim League. 2 objectives. Okay, simple. The first objective of the Muslim League was to be loyal to the British. That means to promote loyalty towards the British among the Muslims and to prevent any feeling of hostility towards the other communities of India. Okay, 2 points. Now, what were the causes of Quit India movement? Very simple. Failure of Cripps mission. Cripps mission failed. Okay. And next one, worsening of communal problems. Communal problems was increasing day by day. That is also was one of the reasons for the Quit India movement. Many causes are there. Price rise and Japan has come closer to India. Okay. So those were also the reason for the Quit India movement. So you have to mention any 2. Now number 6. Mention any 2 objectives of Indian National Army. Indian National Army is 2 objectives you have to mention. So the first objective is to fight for independence of India against the British rule. And number two, to make the Indians feel safe in abroad and protect from the British. Okay, then let us move on to number seven. Mention any two objectives of United Nations organizations. Two objectives. Many are there, so you have to mention. Simple. To save succeeding generation from the scourge of war. That means to save the coming generation from the deadly wars. Okay. Then next one, to develop faith in fundamental human rights and the dignity worth of human beings. Okay, so you can choose any two and write down. It is not necessary that these 2 points you have to mention. Whichever are mentioned in your book and which you feel easy, that points also you can mention. This is just a example. Okay, now let us move on to part two, that will section A. 3 questions will be given. Out of 3 questions you have to do any two. Okay, so let us go through it. What is given in the specimen paper? Question number 3. Legislature make laws which govern the country. With reference to the union legislature, answer the following question. The first question is, what is the maximum composition of Rajya Sabha and why is it called the permanent house? The total strength of Rajya Sabha is 250. Okay, total strength is 250. Why it is called the permanent house? Because it cannot be dissolved, unlike Lok Sabha. Lok Sabha can be dissolved, but Rajya Sabha cannot be dissolved. Okay, now let us move on to this part. Mention any three exclusive powers of Rajya Sabha. So see here, these points I have mentioned it over here. Okay, so the first one is the Lok Sabha cannot make laws on subject included in the state list. Only if the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution by 2/3 majority of the House, the Parliament can make laws on the state list. Okay. Now, number two, if Rajya Sabha demand that new All India service should be made in national interest, the Parliament may create new services. Okay. And the third one, if the Lok Sabha is dissolved before or after the declaration of national emergency, Rajya Sabha plays a role of Lok Sabha. Okay. Now, next one you can see number 3. Mention any 4 legislative powers of the Parliament. So I mentioned it over here 5. Okay, so you have to do only 4. First one is Lok Sabha. See this. Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha make laws on subject mentioned in the union list. Okay, and second one you can see this one. Both house also make laws on concurrent list. Okay, third one you can see here. House can make laws on matters which are not included in any of the 3 lists. That means the subject which is not mentioned in any of the 3 lists is known as residuary power. So residuary power also belongs to the Parliament. Okay, and the fourth one you can see here. Fourth one you can see the Parliament can make laws on subjects included in the state list during an emergency. When the Rajya Sabha passes a resolution stating that subject in the state list of national importance. Okay, and when 2 or more states in the Rajya Sabha want laws on subjects in the state list should be made by the Parliament. Okay, so any 4 legislative powers you can mention it. Okay, now question number 4. The President of India is the nominal head of Union Administration. With reference to the President, answer the following. The first question is simple. What is the term of the President? So term of the President is 5 years. Now, second part, give 2 reasons for indirect election of the President. 2 reasons. You can see here. These 2 reasons. As you know, that President is the nominal head and the Prime Minister is the real head. Okay. The first answer you can see. In parliamentary setup, power is vested in the directly elected members. So it would be an anomaly if the person is directly elected but does not have any power. That means there is a chances of power clash. If President is also elected directly and Prime Minister is also elected, that there will be a power clash. So in order to avoid power clash, the parliamentary system, okay, has made the President election an indirect one. Okay. And the second one, you can see it saves a lot of time, money, energy involved in direct election. That means whenever a president is elected directly, then a lot of money, energy, manpowers are required. So what is the use of electing the president directly when he does not possess any real powers? So simply nothing. That is why in order to avoid all this. So president is a nominal head which does not possess any real powers. All the power is vested with the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers. Okay, on the advice of Prime Minister and Council of Ministers, he performs his duties. Okay, now name 3 kinds of emergencies which the President can declare. Simply you write down national emergency, state emergency, financial emergency. Okay, so national emergency whenever a country is threatened by internal or external war like situations. Okay, state emergency when a state constitutional machinery fails. Okay, and when the country is under financial crisis, then financial emergency can be imposed. Okay, three. Number three, state any four legislative powers of the president. Four legislative powers. So number one, no bill can become law without the assent of the president. A money bill cannot be introduced without the prior approval of the president. Has the power of issue. That means president has the power. Okay, president has the power to issue ordinance when the parliament is not in session. So you might ask, what is ordinance? Ordinance is a temporary law. Okay, ordinance is a temporary law passed by the president when the house is not in session. That means ordinance is a law of an authoritative nature passed by the president when the house is not in session. So this is also one of the legislative power. Okay. Number five, an independent judiciary is a feature of federal governance. With reference to the Supreme Court, answer the following questions. Okay. So number one, who appoint the judges of Supreme Court? The answer is simple. The President of India on recommendation of the collegium system consisting of Chief Justice and senior most judges of Supreme Court. That means the President of India elects the judges of Supreme Court after consulting the senior most judges of Supreme Court. Four senior most judges of Supreme Court. Okay. Even Chief Justice is also consulted. Okay. What is the composition of Supreme Court? So you can see here, Supreme Court consists of Chief Justice 33. That means at present 34, including Chief Justice. Okay, Chief Justice plus 33 other judges. The Parliament may increase the number of judges if it deems necessary. It is decided. That means number of judges to be increased or decreased is decided by the Parliament. Okay, so very simple. Then mention any three kinds of cases which comes under appellate jurisdiction Supreme Court. So you can see three cases. A case that involves substantial question of law, when an order has repealed the acquittal of a person and sentenced him to death or imprisonment of life. And this one, the case that involves a final interpretation of Constitution and its provisions. Now, explain the term. 4 marks to 2 marks. Revisory and advisory. So, revisory jurisdiction. If the Supreme Court discovers that, okay, if the Supreme Court discovers that there are some new facts or evidences, or if it is satisfied that some mistake or error took place in its previous decision, it has the power to review the case and alter the previous decision. Okay, this is revise. That means to revise the judgment. Next one is advisory. So what is mean by advice? Very simple. So as you all know, we need advice. We all human beings need advice. But in legal terms, whenever a president needs advice, where will he go? So president may seek advice from the Supreme Court. Okay, two things you must mention it over here. President may seek advice from Supreme Court. So president will ask advice. So it is number one. Supreme Court may or may not give advice. Okay. Next one, if president has given the advice, it is not mandatory that president has to follow it. It is simply advice. It is not an order. Okay. So president under advisory jurisdiction, President of India may refer any question of law or public importance to Supreme Court for its advice. But the Supreme Court is not bound to give advice. In case advice or opinion of the court is sent to the president, he may or may not accept it. Okay. So for all this reason, Supreme Court is also known as the advisory jurisdiction. Now let us move on to the next part. The next one we have is 5 questions will be given from section B, and you have to attempt only 3. So first one is related to the Great Revolt of 1857 with reference to the following you have to answer. Okay. What was doctrine of lapse? You all know it. Okay. Doctrine of lapse was introduced by Lord Dalhousie. Under this policy, in case of absence of a legitimate son of a Hindu rulers, the British had the right to accept or reject the claim of the adopted son and can take control over the kingdom. Okay, so this was doctrine of lapse. Now, name the queen who became the victim of this policy. The answer is Rani Lakshmi Bai. Rani Lakshmibai became the victim of this policy. Okay. Okay. Now next, mention any three economic causes of the revolt. So any economic. So three. You can see three. So the Great Revolt 1857 was also an outburst of grievance due to economic exploitation. So I have made it in a very different way. So you can go through it. Okay. So you can pause the video, and if you want, you can copy the answers. Okay. The company trade policy destroyed Indian handicraft. As you all know that Indian handicraft was that means destroyed by company's trade policy. Artisan craftsmen were ruined by large-scale entry of cheap British manufactured goods in Indian market. Okay, handmade goods became that means costly. Huge number of Indians were thrown out of unemployment. Many Indians became unemployed. Okay, British opened a new way of exploitation on the peasants by introducing permanent settlement. That means all these were responsible for unemployment and bringing hardship for the people of our country. Okay. Now, mention any four administrative changes made by the British after the revolt. So, first one, East India Company's rule came to an end. India's administration came directly under the British crown. So, this point number three, you just go through it. Indian Council under Secretary of State. Okay, the Secretary of State consisted of how many members? 15 members. So, 15 members out of 15 members, 8 members were appointed by the Queen and 7 members by the directors of the company. Okay, so if you mention that Indian Council under Secretary of State and 15 members of cabinet was created to supervise the Indian administration, that would be enough. Just to clear you, I have given this part. Okay, 15, 8 members were appointed by the Queen and 7 members were the directors of the company. Okay, now next number 7, Indian national movement. So related to assertive nationalist. Okay, so the objectives. What was the objective of assertive nationalists? The answer is very, very simple. The main objective of assertive nationalists was the attainment of Swaraj or self-government. This much only. Okay. Now you are asked to write down 2 contributions. So I have mentioned over here 4 contributions. So you can mention any 2. So simply write down. He was a true leader of aggressive nationalists and believed in action, not in talk. He openly declared Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it. Okay. He used the paper Maratha and Kesari to spread the ideas. Okay. He was in favor of Swadeshi and boycott to pressurize. Okay. And this one, you can say to instill a sense of patriotism in the masses, he revived the Shivaji and Ganpati festival. Okay. Shivaji and Ganpati festival. Okay. Okay. Now, next one you can see here. Who partitioned Bengal? State any 2 actual reasons behind the partition. Actual reason, that is real motive. 2 motives were there, real motive and official motive. Real motive, very, very simple. To break the solidarity of the people of Bengal. Okay. Then, to drive a wedge between the Hindus and Muslims. That means to separate Hindus and the Muslims. Then the third one, to demonstrate the strength of British, that how powerful we are, to show that. Okay, that means most importantly to break the unity of Hindus and the Muslims. Okay, now next one. Mention any 4 methods used by the early nationalists. 4 methods, very, very simple. Prayer, pretty, you can see this. Okay, petition, prayer, protest, resolutions, memorandum, meeting and speech in cities, towns, distribution of leaflets and pamphlets. Okay, so their main motive was to educate the Indian public. Okay, and influence the government positively. Okay, so for that all these methods were used. Now next one you can see here. The mass phase of national movement led to freedom of India. Mass, that means we are discussing about civil disobedience movement. Mass national movement. So what were the causes of civil disobedience movement? Name the mark which marked the beginning of this movement. So appointment of, that means Simon Commission was number 1. Okay, then many were arrested. Large number of political activists and numerous derogatory laws were also provided influx for the nationwide movement. Okay, and the civil disobedience movement took place. That means which march? Dandi March. The Dandi March was the famous march which started on March 12 and ended on April 12th. Okay, so it was started in the year 1930. Okay, now mention any three causes of non-cooperation movement. Very, very simple. First one is Rowlatt Act. Okay, second one is Jallianwala Bagh tragedy, and the third one is Khilafat movement. So you can write a little bit about Rowlatt Act. Why was Rowlatt Act passed? Rowlatt Act was passed in order to curtail the civil liberties of the people, and this act was taken by the Indians as a grave insult. Then, in order to protest against the Rowlatt Act, Jallianwala Bagh tragedy. No, that means Rowlatt Satyagraha is started, and on the that means eve of Rowlatt Satyagraha on 13th of April, Jallianwala Bagh this massacre took place. Okay, near about 1,000 innocent demonstrators were killed. Okay, so mention any four causes of Mountbatten Plan. Clauses of Mountbatten Plan. Where will it? Okay, clauses. So four, one, two, three, four, five. Five I have given. So you can go through any five. Okay, first one, first clause. You can know that India would be of two dominant status, isn't it? So that also you can mention it. Princely states were given the option either to join India or Pakistan or to remain independent. Okay, so boundary commission was headed by Redcliffe. Okay, and you can this point also you can mention it. Northwest Funded province and in parts of Sylhet, a referendum was to be held to decide the future of the provinces. Okay, so all this was to be done. Is that clear? The next one you can see here. Look at the picture. Look at the picture. So you can see this is a Sarajevo murder, isn't it? So identify and briefly explain the above incident. So definitely it is all about Sarajevo. Okay, Gabrielo Principe is there, Archduke Francis Ferdinand and his wife Sofia is there. So this is the picture. Okay, so on the basis of this picture, you have to identify it is a Sarajevo incident. Okay, so Francis Ferdinand and his wife Sofia was assassinated by 19 years old Gabrielo Principe. Okay, then this event led to the beginning of the First World War. Mention any four conditions imposed by Germany in the Treaty of Versailles. So first of all, you can see Germany was held responsible for the war and had to pay $33 billion. So remember, $33 billion. Okay, Germany was forced to surrender Saar region, coal mine region, to France for 15 years. Okay, simply remember, mention any four conditions imposed on Germany. So all this. Then number three, Rhine Valley was demilitarized for 15 years. No military activity could take place over there. Okay. Then this one was also important. German army was restricted to 1 lakh soldiers. The navy was limited to 15,000 men. Okay. And yes, and 36 ships. Air force was totally banned. No submarines were to be allowed. Okay. So this is one. The next one you can see, name the organization established to maintain peace after the First World War. So it was League of Nations. So you have to write down any three objectives. So I have mentioned four. So write down only three. Okay, this is important. All states of the world were prohibited from entering into secret treaties and alliances. Number one. The member states were not supposed to maintain huge armies. All states were to respect each other's territory. That means to maintain international peace and security. Okay, and you can see this point is also very good. All states were to refer their mutual disputes to the League of Nations for the peaceful settlement. Okay, so ultimately, what was the objective? To maintain international peace and security. Okay, and number 10, based on UNO, what is the composition of Security Council? Security Council is composed of how many members? 15 members. Okay, so out of 15, 10 are non-permanent and 5 are permanent. And who were the 5 permanent members? You can see here: USA, UK, France, Russia, and China. Okay. Mention any three functions of International Court of Justice. Three. So the main function of International Court of Justice is the settlement of interstate dispute. Okay. The court settles disputes relating to international treaties signed between two or more countries, disputes between nations relating to interpretation of international laws. Okay. And the last one you can see here, to give advisory opinions on legal questions referred to it by authorized UN organs and specialized agencies. Okay, so mention any three. So you just go through these three. Okay, this one not required. Then this one. What is the full form of UNESCO? United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. Okay, mention any three of its functions. Three functions. So many functions are given over there. So you can write down any three. Okay. So first one is to promote education among children and adults, to give financial assistance, then to give advice and expert assistance. Okay, and to develop good libraries with an adequate supply of books and to eradicate illiteracy. Okay, so hopefully this specimen paper will help you a lot. Okay, so it is not that this specimen question paper will be asked, but this is a pattern, this is a sample paper. You can go through it. Okay, if possible you can pause it and do it, and if you really want the PDF of this uh, question paper, then you please kindly comment in the comment box. I will definitely share this PDF to you. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Please take care of yourself. Okay. And all the best for your board exams. Take care. Stay safe. Bye bye.